It all began with one interview that fans can't stop replaying. Just a few weeks before the divorce became public, Keith Urban sat down on the Australian radio show Jonesy Amanda. What should have been a lighthearted conversation about his career and family turned into one of the most awkward interviews he's ever given. The hosts asked a simple question, one he's answered dozens of times before. Amanda Keller brought up the idea of fate, asking whether Keith believed he and Nicole were destined to meet. Normally, this is where he'd smile, maybe laugh, and talk about how grateful he was for his wife. But this time, there was no smile. After a long pause, Keith looked away and said flatly, "No idea." The silence that followed was hard to miss. He shifted in his seat, nervously unbuttoned his jacket, and after another uncomfortable pause, muttered, "Anyway, moving on." That was it. No stories, no warmth, just a quick shutdown. The radio hosts moved on politely, but the energy in the room had already changed. Weeks later, the show's Instagram account reposted the clip, captioning it with a subtle line, "He used to love talking about Nicole." That caption alone set off a wave of speculation online. Fans began commenting things like, "You can feel how uncomfortable he is," and "Something was definitely off." And they were right, because just a few weeks later, the truth came out. But that September interview wasn't the first time fans noticed something strange. Back in July, Keith made an appearance On Air with Ryan Seacrest. When Ryan complimented Nicole's latest acting projects and asked how they balanced two high-profile careers, Keith's reaction was unusually dry. He gave a small chuckle, then said, "It's a job. Yeah, life is in session." That was it. No follow-up, no emotion, just a quick phrase that carried a lot of weight. At first, listeners brushed it off as Keith being tired or distracted. But after the divorce news broke, people started rewatching that clip with fresh eyes. The comment sections filled with posts like, "He already sounded done," and "That interview makes so much more sense now." Fans began connecting the dots, the distant interviews, the short answers, the quiet pauses, realizing that maybe the signs had been there for months. And sure enough, before the year even ended, the fairy tale officially fell apart. On September 29th, multiple outlets reported that Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman were separating after 19 years of marriage. The next day, court documents revealed that Nicole had filed for divorce in Nashville, citing irreconcilable differences. According to People magazine, sources close to the actress said she felt hurt and betrayed. The same report claimed that Nicole tried to keep the marriage alive, while Keith had already emotionally checked out. One insider reportedly told the outlet, "She didn't see it coming until it was too late. She still believed they could work things out." Almost immediately, rumors began spreading about what might have gone wrong. Some fans pointed to long-distance stress, with Keith constantly touring and Nicole working on back-to-back projects in Hollywood. Others claimed that Keith's old struggles with sobriety may have resurfaced. And then came the speculation that truly set social media ablaze. Whispers that Keith might be involved with a younger woman in the music industry. It's important to note, none of that has been confirmed. But online, that didn't stop the story from taking on a life of its own. Comments flooded in across fan pages and gossip accounts, claiming people had seen them out or heard from insiders. Whether true or not, it fueled a growing sense that something much deeper was going on behind the scenes. 2 days after the filing, paparazzi photos seemed to confirm what fans feared. Keith was spotted stepping off a private jet in Pennsylvania before a show. He looked calm, casual, but one detail stood out immediately. His wedding ring was gone. For someone who'd worn it proudly for years, that was a powerful signal that the marriage was truly over. Meanwhile, across the country, Nicole was seen hiking in Nashville with her sister, looking exhausted but composed. According to reports, she's been relying heavily on her family for support during what insiders describe as a painful and confusing time. A source close to the actress told People, Nicole's focusing on her daughters and trying to keep things stable for them. It's been emotional, but she's strong. The contrast between their appearances couldn't have been sharper. One quiet and reflective, the other back on the road, performing like nothing had changed. Fans couldn't help but notice the difference, calling it the saddest proof that they're living two separate lives. For almost 2 decades, Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman had been seen as one of Hollywood's strongest couples. They met in 2005 at a Los Angeles event and married the following year in Sydney. Together, they raised 2 daughters, Sunday Rose and Faith Margaret, and built a reputation as the rare celebrity pair who truly seemed to have it figured out. Through Keith's well-documented struggles with addiction, Nicole stood by his side. In past interviews, Keith credited her with saving his life, saying, "I owe my sobriety to my wife. She loved me into the light." Fans loved them for that, the image of a love that could survive the darkest moments. Even as recently as June, Nicole celebrated their anniversary with a touching Instagram post. She shared a photo of the two of them smiling together with the caption, "Happy anniversary, baby." At the time, fans flooded the comments with love. Now, those same fans are revisiting that post, calling it bittersweet and heartbreaking in hindsight. So what really changed? According to several reports, the cracks began showing long before the public knew. Friends of the couple say that Keith's demanding tour schedule kept him on the road for months at a time, while Nicole was filming overseas. The distance reportedly made it harder for them to connect, and as one insider put it, they started living parallel lives. Others claim there was growing tension over where to settle down permanently. Nicole preferred spending time in Nashville and Sydney, while Keith, deeply rooted in the music scene, wanted to stay closer to his band and recording base. It might seem like a small detail, but for two people balancing global careers, even that kind of disagreement can take a toll. And as fame grew and schedules tightened, what once felt romantic, traveling, working, performing, slowly began to create distance instead of closeness. Now both sides are moving in very different directions. Keith is back on tour, performing to sold-out crowds, while Nicole is said to be pouring her energy into new film projects. Sources close to her told Us Weekly that she's focusing on her children and healing. As for Keith, those close to him describe his current mindset as trying to stay busy and not dwell on the past. Publicly, neither has made a major statement about the divorce beyond what's been filed. Their representatives have asked for privacy, especially for the sake of their daughters. But online privacy is almost impossible. Every old interview, every red carpet moment, every smile is being analyzed and reinterpreted. TikTok and YouTube are flooded with videos comparing Keith's body language in 2023 to that of earlier years. One viral post shows a 2016 clip of him talking about Nicole with pure admiration, and then cuts to the recent interviews where his tone is distant. The caption reads simply, "Something changed." It's heartbreaking to watch, especially for fans who believed theirs was one of the few celebrity marriages that could last forever. Still, despite all the speculation, one thing remains clear. Both Keith and Nicole are handling this with dignity. There have been no public outbursts, no social media jabs, no messy headlines. Just quiet acceptance that their chapter together has come to an end. 19 years, 2 children, countless memories. It's not a story anyone expected to close so suddenly. But as painful as it is, it's also a reminder that even the most perfect love stories can unravel quietly. The viral interviews, the awkward pauses, the emotionless replies, they now feel like pieces of a puzzle that only makes sense in hindsight. Maybe those weren't just uncomfortable moments. Maybe they were goodbyes in disguise. And while fans continue to speculate about what really went wrong, one truth stands out above the rest. When it comes to love, no amount of fame, fortune, or fairy tale appearances can protect anyone from heartbreak. Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman's story is one that began with music, passion, and hope, and ended with silence, distance, and unanswered questions. And in the end, perhaps the saddest part is this: the world didn't need a press release to see it was over. All it took was one interview, and a few words that said everything.